Hi there, it's Carol Borgeson with Carolbcrafts. Today we'll be doing project number 1 in my Peaceful Poinsettia online class. You can check out my website www.carolbcrafts.com to find out what current class and club kits I'm offering. Now if you don't have the class kit for this card, don't worry, I'll give the dimensions as we go along so that you can make this card along with us. Now this is a fun fold card and I'm not even sure what the fold is called. I received a swap card for one of my downline and she used this style of fold, so I thought I would like to incorporate it in my next class. Now your kit comes with the card base already cut, but at the end of the video I will show you how to cut the your cardstock so that you can make more of these if you want. Now the products you're going to need for this class is going to be the cherry cobbler ink, some regular dimensionals, dark old olive Stampin' blend, dark cherry cobbler Stampin' blend, and some glue, and I think we do use snail at some point. But I suggest that you use the glue to glue on the sentiment. But I think you could use snail to do some of the other adhering. So let's get started. Now this is the kit that you're going to need. Didn't want to come out of there. And everything is pre-cut for you, including, like I said, that special fold base there, and I even went ahead and adhered the DSP to this cardstock and cut it for you to make it very easy for you to just put it on your card. So this is the thick very vanilla cardstock, and at the end of the video again I'll show you how to make the card base if you want to make more. Now this is basically a piece of the Festive Farmhouse DSP. I had to look. So this is in this class we use the Festive Farmhouse DSP, and this DSP is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, and it's on top of a piece of the cherry cobbler cardstock 5 1/4 by 4. So they go like this, and you'll just put that on, and you'll cut for the front. You cut from the bottom right to the top left. Okay, that's for the front part. Now the DSP that you cut from the inside here is it is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. But you cut from the left to the right, from the bottom left to the top right, and that's important, especially if you have a design. This could go either way, but not all DSPs can go every way, so you would want to cut from bottom left to top right for the inside. So let's start putting together our card. We know that these pieces go here, so we're going to put those on with some I'm going to use snail. Now when you put these on, you're going to put them on right up against, this part is right up against the line. There is no distance. There's no border. Like down here you can see there's an 1/8 of an inch border, but here there is no border. These two are going to meet perfectly like this. Hopefully, that's the plan. Okay, so we have that on. So now we'll just go ahead and put on our, now let me make sure I get these right. This is the inside. This is the DSP we cut the inside, and we'll put that on with some snail. And while we're at it, we have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 that is cherry cobbler that's going to go here in the center. Now with these you will have a border all the way around. Okay, so we have some of our card base ready. Now we're going to do some stamping, and we're going to stamp with our Peaceful Poinsettia stamps and using the Christmas wishes, and on the inside we're going to use the little holly berry here, and then we're going to use Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And for the Stampin' Blends we use the dark old olive and the dark cherry cobbler. So we're going to be stamping on, I give you two, you only need one. This is the, and I don't have it here. So it looks like this is the 5th largest oval and the 4th largest scalloped oval from the layering oval framelits dies. So we'll be stamping our Christmas wishes on these, and then we have the inside. We have a piece of Very Vanilla, just regular Very Vanilla, 5 1/8 by 3 7/8, and that's going to go on the inside here. So that's the stamping that we have to do. So I'm going to get my Stamparatus. So I also realized you're going to need your Mossy Meadow to stamp the holly berries on the inside of your card base. So you'll need to get that out. Okay, so I have my Stamparatus and I have my oval. Now I put some adhesive on the back of one of my ovals and I adhered it to a piece of scratch paper. I have a piece of chipboard underneath here to kind of give me a little bit of lift. Now because this is a class, these ovals come pre-cut for you, and I have a piece of plastic, clear plastic. It's the clear sheets that we sell. I'm trying to think of what they call them. I'll put the name on the screen. And I'm going to first put it in the corner landscape here, and I'm going to stamp an image with my Christmas wishes here near the edge of my plastic. This is going to help me place my my image on my oval perfectly. Okay, so that tells me where that's going to stamp. So now I've taken my oval and I've put some adhesive, snail on the back, and adhered it to a piece of scratch paper. Now I can slide that underneath the plastic, and I can make sure I keep my plastic in the corner. Now you can use the clear sheets that we sell, or you could use the plastic from a photopolymer stamp set if you don't have any of the clear sheets. So I like where that is, so I'm going to go ahead and put my magnet there and remove the plastic and ink up my stamp. Okay, so that's done. Now we're going to do the inside sentiment. That is our piece of 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 Very Vanilla. So we'll first stamp our Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and again I don't need to put it on a piece of scratch paper. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp here in the bottom the Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. I have that on the window sheet, so now I can kind of just slip this underneath my Very Vanilla and kind of get an idea, making sure my window sheet stays in the corner. That looks good. So now I'm going to just remove this and put my magnet in place. Try to move it around here, and that's going to go in the center, so I'll ink that up. Okay, now it's ready for the Mossy Meadow, and we're going to put the little holly leaves, and we don't really need to use that window sheets to place those, because we can kind of get an idea where we want that to go. So now we're just going to pick that up with our plate and use our Mossy Meadow. We'll clean off our stamp and place it in this corner down here. Now it's important that you dry your stamp, and I just dry it on my Stampin' scrub, and I'll put this in the corner down here. Okay, we're done with our stamping. Now we're ready to do our Stampin' Blends coloring. We've got our dark Old Olive for the holly leaves and the dark Cherry Cobbler for the little berries. Okay, so we have our coloring done. So we can go ahead and put that on the inside of our card right here. So we have the inside done. Now we can go ahead and put our Christmas wishes, and when you be careful when you pull it apart, pull the paper from the oval, not the other way around. And we'll put that on our Cherry Cobbler oval. Now you could use glue if you have a hard time putting this on top of a small item like that and lining it up. You could always use your multi-purpose glue for that. So now we have this ready to go on the front, but before we put that on, we need to go ahead and make this element of our card, which is our poinsettia. So now we're ready to make our poinsettia. So you'll need your piece. You have two pieces, Cherry Cobbler 3x3 and Very Vanilla 3x3. Now your Cherry Cobbler will have adhesive on the back, and how I got that there so that it would make it easy for you to adhere, because you can see this very fine detail there. It would be very hard to glue that on. So that's why we have these adhesive sheets. So I have my 3x3 piece of cardstock, and it says peel here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to peel it back. Try not to touch the part that's sticky, because it's very sticky. And I'm going to take my 3x3 sheet of cardstock and just set it up there against that. And now I'll close that back. I can trim it with, I'm going to use my gooey scissors here. I'm going to trim it, and I can use this for another one. Now I have the adhesive on the back. So now we're going to cut our poinsettia for this part here. Now this poinsettia will cut out, but if you don't use the frame, it won't cut out as an individual piece. So I like to look for, there's like 3, 1, 2, 3 there. That kind of helps me to match up. And then I have like 1, 2, 3 there. And you can see it fits in there perfectly. I'm just going to move it around till I get it in place. Use my Scotch removable tape to hold it in place. Now I'm going to run this through the Big Shot, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that, because I'm going to run it through several times to make sure I get a good cut. Okay, so I have my Big Shot, I have my base plate and my thin die adapter, my cutting plate that I wanted to cut on, and then I have my top plate. So I'm going to set it with the white side down. That's where it's going to cut. And I'm going to put my top plate on top, and I'm going to run it through one time, and then I'm going to run it back. That's 2 times. Now right now I can go ahead and remove the frame, but I don't want to move the part that's cutting the poinsettia. Now you can use washi tape if you don't have any of the tape that I have. And the reason I'm removing the frame is because that will allow, now you don't have to, but it will allow the poinsettia to cut better. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to check it and see how my cuts are. And I can see that I still need a little more, so I'm going to put it back down here. That's why it's good to use the tape, because it keeps it in place. I'm going to run it down. This is 5 and 6. And I'm going to do it. Might need to use a shim. Let's see. 7, 8. Now I could use that special plate, but I don't really like to use that special plate. I think I'm going to use a shim instead. So I'm going to put a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 thick Very Vanilla there. Then I'm going to put my cutting plate, and that'll be like a little shim. It'll give a little bit more oomph. See if that's just enough. You don't want to put too much. Be surprised how much difference that one little piece of cardstock makes. And I'm just going to go through 2 times. And oh yeah, now that made such a difference, just that one little piece of thick Very Vanilla. So we're done with our cutting. The only other thing we need to cut is this little piece here, but that's real easy to run through our big shots. So I'll run that through. That's our 3 by 3 Very Vanilla. Okay, so that's our base. Now we have our poinsettia. I'm just going to get that off of there. And because we used the adhesive back cardstock, it'll be sticky for us. So all we will have to do is to find those 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I find it's best to start with 1, line it up, and then kind of walk yourself around. Matching them up as you go. And then we have our poinsettia. Now you can see that here in the center there's some of these little dots. You can just take your piercing tool and remove those. Now we're going to need some of the green holly leaves that go behind there. So what we'll do is we'll get this die here and our piece of mossy meadow, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're just going to cut 4 of those with our die cut machine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it looks like we only need 3, but I can't count. So we only need 3, but you can use that one for something else. So again, we're going to find those 1, 2, 3 little leaves that are together there. That's going to be towards the bottom. So that means that we're going to have 1, 2, 3. They're going to kind of be like this, like a cross, and then that'll help you with your placement. And you want them behind you don't want them sticking out too far, so you want them kind of like that. And we're going to put them on with some glue dots. So I'm going to flip this over, get my glue dots out. So I'm just going to put a glue dot kind of here in between these 2 circles, and I probably should use this, and I'm putting it like this is the front. I'm putting it on the front, so I want it kind of there, and then I'm going to put the front of this one right there between those 2. I'm going to put it like right here. So I'm making my 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to have one going that direction. And I'll put that there. And it will go here. So you can see it's kind of like cross and then down. And that will give me what I want right here. Okay, so we have our poinsettia and it's going to go there. We don't want the green to go over that, and we're going to have our Christmas wishes here. We don't want these overlapping because then the card won't open. I want to make sure this stays on really well. So I'm going to put that on with some glue. So I'll get my multi-purpose glue, make sure I'm putting it on the right side. So I'm going to, it slants this way, so I'm going to put some here. But I don't want to put it too far over because I don't want it to go past where the cut is. So it's going to be about right here. Alright, so now we're going to do the poinsettia part. And we're going to put that on. Here's our 3 right down here. We're going to put that on with some mini dimensionals. Well, not mini, regular dimensionals. So we'll go ahead and put those on. Now we don't want it to go over the part that's slanted, so we'll just kind of have to guess where we can put these. Got one there. And it looks like we can put one here. And we could put one here. And maybe one right there. Okay, that looks good. So we'll remove the backs, making sure that we're not going past our thing there. Now, one of the things I did is with this, to keep it from getting too loose, is I put just a little tab of glue down here, just a drop, a tiny little drop, and then I pressed it down, and it will dry clear, so you don't have to worry about if it shows right now. It won't show later, but it'll keep that from flapping back and forth. Okay, so and if you have any extra glue there, you can come back and just kind of erase it gently. Okay, I think our card is finished, except for, and then it just kind of goes like this. You kind of go so that they don't hit each other when you're shutting them. And now we just need to do our gold pearls, which are in your envelope. I forgot to tell you that. Our gold pearls, metallic pearls. We'll put one in over each one of those holes in the poinsettia. Okay, so you should have one for each one of those holes, and then one to just kind of go here. Kind of just to even it out a little bit right there. I can see this one is missing its. I need to find it and put it on there. Okay, so you have your card. This one doesn't want to close completely, so I'm going to take my bone folder and just go across like that and kind of give it a nice crease so that it wants to lay flat. Okay, now it wants to lay flat, which is good. That's what we want. So there's our card. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for taking my class. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current classes and club kit offerings I have. And stay tuned to learn how to make this interesting fun fold here. if you want to make more. Thanks for watching. Bye now. Okay, to make the card base for this fun fold card, you're going to need a piece of thick, very vanilla cardstock, and it's going to be, we're going to put it portrait and score it at 4 1/4 all the way down. Turn it landscape and score it at 5 1/2. And this will actually make 2. Now you'll probably need your Stampin' trimmer for this because it has a nice wide area for you. Now I have removed my blade that I use for scoring, so all I have is my cutting blade, and you'll need to remove your scoring blade just temporarily. So I have this portrait. I have it where I scored it facing me. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut from bottom left to top right. That's very important. If you cut from bottom left to top, bottom right to top left, it will not work. So you need bottom left to top right, and I'm going to just turn it so that this corner is right over the groove, the cutting groove in that plastic strip, and this corner is right over the cutting groove in the plastic strip. And you just want to just move it around till you get both of those corners perfectly in the center of that groove. Okay, so that one's in there and that one's in there, and when I'm happy with that, I'm going to take my blade, but I'm going to hold this tight here so it doesn't slide. And I'm not going to start like this. I'm going to start a little above, like a 1/2 inch above, and I'm going to go forward and then all the way back. So now I have my perfectly cut 2 pieces of card base that I can use for my fun fold cards. So now for this one, you can find your little grooves here and fold it forward, but you don't want to fold them forward until you've matched them up, because you want them to match perfectly in the center, and you may have to train them to do that. You can do that with your bone folder. Now these, I got lucky and they meet perfectly, but if they didn't, I would have to play with them until they met perfectly. You don't want them to overlap. There can be a little gap, but you don't want anything overlapping. And then of course you have the other one here too. Same thing, you want to match them up, make sure they meet perfectly, and then score. Okay, and then that's how you make your little fold for your fun fold card base. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye now.